we're here, Revo Crude in the building with none other than Jay Bradley, head coach of Frank Phillips. Coach, just a little bit about for the audience who you are, a little bit about yourself, a quick background.
Jay Bradley, currently the head coach here at Frank Phillips, Borger, Texas. Recently went to the national tournament last year, made it to the Sweet 16 for the first time in 50 years for the program, which was really good. Hunter Jenkins was at the helm then. I was at SIUE last year. We actually made it to the national tournament, ended up losing to Houston, the eventual runner-up. Before that, I spent 3 years at Northwest Tech. Also worked with the EYBL program, Pro Skills, and also a Puma Circuit program in Coos Elite.
Yes, sir.
That's before that. I was already in the league. I worked at Clarendon and I worked at Odessa. I worked under Bucket at Odessa, and I worked at Clarendon under Hunter Jenkins.
Tell me a little bit about how would you describe the identity you want this roster to have under your leadership?
Tough, physical. We're going to play with pace, and we're going to apply pressure on both ends. Offensively, we're going to apply pressure on the basket by paint touches, getting in transition, get to the free throw line, and then defensively, we're going to fly around, play hard.
As your program, it's early. We mentioned walking up the stairs. You're getting a feel for what you got. What do you see as the biggest strength of this group as you prepare for the season?
Our depth, and they actually already like each other. I have really high character young men, which goes a long way in junior college. Just being able to bring guys together in a short amount of time, and just being able to get everybody on the same page, I think is going to be one of our biggest strengths.
For sure. Obviously, congrats on the new spot. You're looking at taking the helm there at Frank Phillips. What's the first thing you wanted to do when you arrived there on campus?
Build relationships with the community, and then immediately started recruiting good players. Guys like Trayvon Grant Foster, Cortland Thomas were among the first few guys that I signed and were able to get on board. Quinn Booker was another one. And just being able to get those guys on board and have them up here as cornerstones, or they're going to help lay the foundation of what I want to do here.
No doubt. And you mentioned, when you were introducing yourself, a little bit of background of your mentors and those sorts of things. You worked with Coach Bucket and Ryan Hillenthal. What's the biggest piece of advice from them that you carry with you into practices and now at the head coaching position at Frank Phillips?
Both of them are very different. I've gotten advice from both of those guys on multiple occasions. Bucket advises me on a lot of different things. I'll call Bucket for just about everything. Bucket's known me since I was 17. I played for Bucket. I worked for him. So I trust him with a lot of the things that we talk about. Thal always reminds me just to, be myself, do the things the right way, and continue to build up other people.
Yes, sir. And along with that resume, on the player side, man, you've coached NBA champion Cason Wallace and JUCO standouts like Zarik Nutter and James Reese. What's the common trait those guys had that you try to spot in every recruit?
They were all tough, and exceptional toughness in Cason. He was exceptionally consistent. He was an everyday guy, and same thing with Zarik. Same thing with James. You never had to guess who they were going to be, whether it was practice, shoot around, or a game. We always knew which guy we were going to get.
Yes, sir. And, the places you've gone make you who you are. And not everybody has a similar story to you, but you both went to JUCO and AAU coaching experience, D1 as well. But how do you balance evaluating the talent in game versus evaluating character off the court?
It's not difficult at all, especially as a JUCO coach, because right now with the transfer portal, there's a lot of other opportunities for somebody that's like a qualifier. So now you could get a really good qualifier in a conference like this at a spot like Frank Phillips, instead of going after somebody that's been at 4 or 5 different schools or something like that. So evaluating both is important, just because you got to have good enough talent. You got to be talented enough, and then you can be picky on being able to have high character. Is he good in the classroom? How does he treat his parents? Does he listen? How was he raised? Things like that.
Small towns, they're not really a new thing for you. As you mentioned, you played at Odessa and coached at Clarendon and so forth and so on. Borger, Texas, right? It's a tight knit community. How do you plan to connect Frank Phillips basketball with the town and local fans there?
I think there's a lot of excitement around Frank Phillips basketball right now there, and I just want to continue to build upon what happened last year and bring those guys together and continue to have people support the program. And in doing that, when you have really good young men or high character young men, it's easy because those guys want to be around those guys, and it's easy to it's easy to bring other people in.
Yes, sir. Strong resume, obviously, throughout AAU, JUCO, and D1, and you've done a great job on the social media side. Strong following, by the way. How do you use that platform? Is it more for recruiting, or is it more for giving fans a window into your program? Can you expand on that? And
I think there's three things that I try to do. I do use it for recruiting. I also use it to put through a little window or give insight on the things that I think that leads to winning, and then I let people know who I am. I think it's important that people understand who the head coach is when you're recruiting them. So the guy that you play for is really important. I think fit is really important when you come to any spot, any level. If you don't go to the right school, it could hurt you more than it can help you.
we talk about Frank Phillips basketball, bringing the community in, making these young men the men they're supposed to become outside of basketball. If a four-year coach was here today, maybe later on in the season, maybe across the country, what will they get from a player and person, and what type of person are they getting out of Frank Phillips College?
A resilient young man that knows how to handle adversity, knows how to control his emotions, and is smart. I think that's a very big thing. He cares about education because we're gonna worry about our academics. We're gonna do the right things in the classroom, and then from that point on, just a high character young man.
How do you think RevoCruit would help AAU programs and high school programs looking to be visible within that transfer portal and JUCO space?
Accessibility is the main thing. I think you guys make it very accessible to see players from across the country that we may not be able to see anywhere else. And these guys were able to do all sorts of stuff now. I think one of your recent updates, you're able to like do the little toggles like the 2K stuff, and you're able to put grades on certain things, and that's very helpful for us. And you can keep it right here. I don't have to write on a piece of paper that I may lose or something like that. It's all right there on your phone, and the app's very easily accessible. I think the kids are going to benefit from that. You can click on a kid, you can see where they were, their points per game, all their stats, different mixtape videos and stuff like that. So it's very easily accessible.
Sure. And we're in closing here. I want to give anybody who might see this the opportunity to know the phrase Frank Phillips basketball, but I want them to think something, and I want you to allow us to think something. So give us what people should think about Frank Phillips when you're done.
Purpose driven. We're going to play hard. We're going to play hard with young men with high character.